What's going on YouTube? It's Brazen back here with another video for you guys. If you guys are enjoying the content, if you guys want to hit a like down below, subscribe if you guys are new here, and leave a comment letting me know you subscribe so I can welcome you to the family. And that being said, cue intro. Alright, so we're back, year 4, we're in the preseason. Go check out the offseason, obviously, if you haven't done that yet. We didn't have a great draft, to be honest with you, but that being said, we're at 84 offense, 83 defense, 83 overall. We're right there, in my opinion, to being able to win games. So, Ezekiel Bacon has a questions in camp. I think long-term development. You know, he's not our starter, but he's our backup running back that we want to work on, in my opinion. And actually, did he take number 32? Because Michael Carter, I believe, was number 32. So I don't know what happened there. Hall of Fame induction. This should be for Gates. Gates looks like he is somebody that actually retired this year. Or Hall of Fame, sorry, not retired. So a couple things I want to go over would be our scheme. So I did start using this towards the end of last year, which is I switched our playbook to Tampa Bay. The reason I did this is because it's a vertical zone run playbook. And I wanted to be vertical zone run because we have agile linemen for the most part. Our tight end is a vertical threat. Our receivers are deep threats, right? We have elusive back and then strong arm quarterback. We're trying to build into our scheme instead of being a little bit worse than, you know what I mean, in terms of not building our scheme, right? Obviously, base 4-3 we're pretty good in. I guess we could be something like a 4-6 would be, I guess, a little bit different. You know, we could look around. We're not really a 3-4 defense because we don't really have. That's not really the defense we run. Quarters 4-3. That's not really. We don't have pass coverages, right? Like we're more of a 4-3. Not really a 4-3 cover 3, to be honest with you either. The issue with the 4-3 cover 3 like this is you're looking for something like slot corners, hybrids, power rushers. That's not really our base 4-3 is the best to what we got, which the defense worked very well for us last year. But we also should be able to, in our staff, now I don't know how it works, to be honest with you. We have to, okay, so I guess we have to rebuy it if we want to. So it's 50 every year, so I probably won't buy it right off the bat. I'll probably go ahead and just let us try to get some points for maybe our player personnel, finish those out for free agencies first, because, you know, it probably would have been useful if we had these boosted for our free safety, right? Unlucky that they didn't do that, but you know, that's probably what we'll spend our points on first. It's obviously great to be able to see what people do, but we'll worry about that later. I do want to show you guys just our weekly strategy going into week 1 of the preseason, and then from there we'll go ahead and, you know, make sure that we're doing it. We'll be doing it every week, but we obviously won't be showing it. So do we want to defend the deep pass or the run? I guess we'll do deep pass, is fine. Now for this blitz counter, once again, those aren't really what's important. It's here. So we know we got Isaiah Simpson. He is a 77 overall. We don't know his development yet. I think we keep him in there. Sheldon Boykin, we don't know his development. I think we keep him in there. Alan Lawrence is a normal development. I think we're not going to keep him in there. I think we're going to put some linemen in my opinion. Mason Turner is an 80 overall star. I like having him in. Ezekiel Bacon is a running back. You know, we're not going to know his development for a while, to be honest. I think it's not going to be smart to play him. I think we're better off putting Billy Fox, who is an 80 overall. We have normal players, right? We don't want normal players, so we're going to go, is it a right outside linebacker or a left? Channing Shirley, right? He might not get too much playing time, but we definitely want to go ahead and put him in there as well. And then Sam Washington will probably take out, and we'll probably move in our right tackle, Nate Wilson, because we want to get our line going good, you know, and help out our offense. I'm thinking that's what we're going to go for right now. We want to definitely use players. I don't know, honestly, which was the best players to develop. Personally, I just like using players that maybe our linemen don't get a lot of points in game, in my opinion. So that's why I like using them. Isaiah Simpson might not get a lot of points, and then both these linebackers may not get too many points either. So we'll go ahead and team profile it up real quick. For week 1, we'll start with throw 2 touchdown passes. Maybe allow no conversions on 4th. We'll go for maybe try 275 passes. And then 15 first downs is always the one we choose, which it already has it there. We'll go ahead and start the training. And then this will be basically what we are going to do. Pretty similar until we get to the scouting. When we get to week 1, we'll go ahead and obviously check it And then from there, we'll go ahead and get everything going. So no upgrades. We're going to go ahead and start simming. When we get to the regular season, we'll go over our yearly goals and everything like that. And then we'll keep going from there. All right, so beginning of the regular season here, we got to set our goals, talk about opening day, everything like that. But one thing we definitely wanted to talk about, which is quite hilarious, right? So if we look at our roster, I was saying, not going to probably be playing Ezekiel Bacon too much. We have Michael Carter. He's a superstar, pretty good. And then Ezekiel Bacon gets Superstar X Factor. So apparently I took the right running back in the draft. Superstar X Factor. He got it without even having to do like a moment. He just do that mentorship thing he did with Michael Carter. He became a Superstar X Factor. So just amazing. Obviously he's a little slow, which kind of sucks. He's kind of more of a power back, unfortunately. We put on some abilities on him, nothing too crazy because he's not high enough level yet to get, a lot of these. He's not 85 overall or anything. But we definitely are going to want to start playing this guy. So we put him at power back. Michael Carter is still the starter for now. But we may make that switch, a couple weeks into the year. We're going to see how Michael Carter runs this year. Because once again, Michael Carter is a free agent. So maybe he's someone we trade away at the draft. He's going to be a lot of trade value. Even though he's not a starter, he would get a lot of trade value in my personal opinion. So just because he is a superstar, and obviously it'll be basically treat him as X Factor. We're doing 7 wins because we definitely need the ability to, do better than we did last year. We did 5 wins last year. So we have to at least get 7 in my opinion. Stifling defense, that's just the name of the game, the way we play. We want to probably stuff the run or disrupt the pass. Let's just do disrupt the pass. Beat the 49ers less than 200 yards of passing. And then we got to obviously do our game plan to kind of match that. So one bad thing, Carl Lawson is out for 5 weeks with the quad tear, which is pretty crazy. It's only 5 weeks, to be honest with you. We see Ezekiel Bacon here with a Superstar X Factor. He's only a 73 overall. That's why I don't want to start him just yet, but we do want to develop him. So right now we have a pretty bad right end, if I'm being honest with you. Something I was thinking about doing is putting a player down here from linebacker, right, which would be Dexter Albert in this situation, where basically I can go ahead and move Dexter Albert and then put Boykin and Shirley at linebackers, which is probably what I'm going to do for a couple weeks, to be honest with you. At least what I'm thinking until Carl Lawson gets back. So obviously specialist, like I said, we have Bacon as our, he's one worse technically than Michael Carter. We'll move Michael Carter to number 2. He's one worse technically, but because he's a Superstar X Factor, we want to get him some run right in the game. So Boykin is the rush left end right now. So we are going to move our depth chart around before the first game to do that. Just so obviously we do that, but we're going to do our weekly strategy. So I did put Ezekiel Bacon in our strategies now. So they do have Trey Lance, so we do definitely want to defend the pass. And then defensively they have Fred Warner. So let's go ahead and try to throw it deep on him. And then, like I said, I have Ezekiel Bacon in here now because he is a Superstar X Factor, so we want to get him some XP. Definitely. We have both our outside backers that are new, kind of. A couple of linemen, which we obviously want to get up, and then Isaiah Simpson. So we'll go ahead and throw 2 touchdowns. Let's actually sack the quarterback 3 times, maybe. We don't get a lot of sacks, actually. Let's do it. Don't allow a rushing touchdown. We'll do pass for 275, and then obviously 15 first downs we do every time. So, like I said, we lost Carl Lawson for 5 weeks, which is really unfortunate. But luckily, we're going to be able to fix it a little bit. Move our players around. We'll go ahead and show you what it's going to look like with that. So we're going to go ahead and go into our depth chart. And then basically what we need to do is we have, which linebacker? We have Dexter Albert is the one that we need to get out of there, right? So Shirley for Albert, right? Actually, what we'll do is we'll leave Shirley on the right outside linebacker because that's where he is. And then we'll go ahead and put in Boykin over here behind Albert. And then we'll move Albert to, I think, right end. Dexter Albert will be in right end. And then we can just move this around in a couple of weeks, obviously. Dexter Albert will be there at right end. Perfect. So pretty much we're ready to go. We'll see you guys when the scouting starts. Let's check out our stats after the first couple of weeks, and we'll go from there. All right, so we're in week 3. We are actually 2-0. We beat the Patriots 42-14. So first thing we want to do is look at our stats and just kind of check out right now how we're doing. So Zach Wilson's got 6 touchdowns through 2 games. 427 yards, 137 yards rushing for Michael Carter on 32 carries. So let's look at on 21 carries, Ezekiel Bacon has about 72 yards. So not quite as good. He does have 2 touchdowns. I kind of like utilizing both of them right now. We may bring back Michael Carter for that exact reason, to kind of utilize them. We'll kind of pay attention to that. Elijah Moore, Pittman, Basnight, and Darnell Mooney are all kind of playing there. None of them are doing too great. They're kind of sharing the ball. But we really could almost have like 4,000-yard receivers if we threw for 4,000 yards. So, it could be kind of close in there, depending on how it goes. Mekhi Becton, Elijah Vera Tucker, and Gregory Worth have all given up a sack so far. Billy Fox, I think, missed a little bit of time. On the defense side of the ball, obviously Joey Dickens is having the most tackles. Sprinkle is doing pretty good. Sheldon Boykin, a rookie, is actually doing fairly decent at making tackles. Something else to keep in mind, sack-wise, Quentin Williams already got 3. Boykin's got 1.5. Dickens has 1. We actually lost our D-tackle Ty Castle as well. We have a lot of tackles for loss so far, but Ty Castle is actually out 5 weeks with a dislocated ankle. So far we've had a fairly bad start in terms of how much injuries we've had so far. We've lost 2 people to our defensive line, but we've still been able to win, which is, a great thing for us to be able to continue to do. Negotiation-wise, there is J.C. Jackson, which I am debating not bringing back. We'll kind of see. Maybe we will, right? Because he only really wants a 1 year. So maybe we will bring him back on a 1 year, and we can bring him back. We'll think about it. We don't need him yet. Same thing with Michael Carter. I think we might bring back Michael Carter and kind of leave it in the way that we're doing it, where we have a third down and a power back. Even though he's supposed to be an elusive, he's pretty good at the power back position for us. At least for an Ezekiel Bacon for like another, he wants a 4 year. Maybe we can give him like a 2 year. We'll kind of have to wait on that. Elijah Moore and Zach Wilson. Elijah Moore definitely. Zach Wilson, as long as he plays good towards the middle of the year. I think by the trade deadline, we'll look at it. And if he's looking pretty good, or even towards the end of the year, then we'll keep him. John Franklin Myers, we'll probably get back on a couple years. Elijah Vera Tucker. And then we got other people as well that maybe we'll get back later on. So we got some players, definitely some big time. J.C. Jackson, I think we may go ahead and get, but we're not going to negotiate anything yet. It's not a big deal. We definitely have our scouting to do as well. Now, I am going to scout quarterbacks this year, which, wow, this is a horrible quarterback class. So we might not have a choice but to stick with Zach Wilson. We're going to scout some of we're going to try to stick to players that are actually scheme fits. And this is actually one of the worst scouting quarterback classes I have seen. That is horrible. So don't need there. We obviously don't need any running backs. I mean, we kind of need a free safety, which there's none. There's a bunch of corners. Who else is a first round pick, I guess? Maybe some linemen. Maybe there's a lot of linemen in this draft. Yeah, it looks like it's a decently strong lineman class, I guess. I don't even know, honestly. This is a really weird class. Wide receivers, I guess. I don't know. That's kind of a weird class, but we'll continue to look at it, I guess, as it goes. But we might be trading away some picks this year. If we don't really need them, to be honest with you, there's a good shot we do that. So we just got our weekly strategy upgrade players to do, and then keep on going. We'll let you guys know what's going on closer to the trade deadline. We'll look at our picks, trades, everything that we need. If we're doing good, we really don't want to trade away anybody because we're looking for playoffs if at that point. So we'll go ahead and see how it goes on for the next couple of weeks, and then we'll be talking then. All right, so we're into trade deadline week 8. We're going to be basically talking about what we've kind of done so far. So negotiation-wise, a couple players that I'm a little skeptical to negotiate with is Elijah Vera Tucker, John Franklin Myers, Marcus May is definitely a no-go, and then Michael Carter. So here's the thing. Michael Carter, obviously he's a superstar, but he wants a 4-year contract. It's not going to cost us too much. We do have the money for it, but we have a superstar X Factor sitting behind him. So do we want to develop that superstar X Factor, or do we want to keep Michael Carter, who is an 86, going, right? And then we have John Franklin Myers, who's about 27. He only wants a 2-year, but he's not great. He's an 81. And then Elijah Vera Tucker hasn't been doing too good this year. We're going to look at his stats. Earlier in the year, he wasn't doing good. I don't know how he's doing now. We do finally get our Ty Castle back. So looking at this draft, there's really not a lot of good players. There's a lot of running backs, which we don't need, and a lot of receivers, which we don't need. Unfortunately, Ashton Davis did have another chance to also be a breakout player. He did not get it. Looking at team fit players, we're looking at all these positions. Right tackles we're kind of working on, but there's really not a lot of good value picks. There's some players that they say is a first round talent, but they're not obviously there. So something like a left end, there's none of them here that are actually for our scheme. There's a couple right ends that we could look at for our scheme. Not very good, right? D tackles, nothing really there. Linebackers, nothing really here. So I honestly don't really know what to do in this draft. There's like not a lot of players that are going to be valuable for us. Go ahead and pick up, right? We see there's really not a lot going on in this draft. We're probably thinking about trading away picks, to be honest with you. Maybe get some players in. Is what I'm personally thinking. So let's go ahead and check the stats out real quick. We're obviously doing pretty good. We've only lost 2 games. Zach Wilson's actually leading the league in yards right now. Offensively, in general, we are doing really good. And then defensively, we're also 5th in the NFL. So overall, we're doing pretty good. Zach Wilson, 14-8, so not great. Rushing, we're averaging about, I don't know how many this is a game. I guess about 80, 90 a game. Michael Carter's averaging about 55 a game. Ezekiel Bacon about 18, and then Zach Wilson about 12. So the thing is with Ezekiel Bacon is we obviously know he's a superstar X factor, but Michael Carter, he is a superstar, so I don't know if we keep him in there or what we do. Darnell Mooney is also on a breakout game right now. Ashton Davis did not get his, but Darnell Mooney, if he's to have 150 yards or touchdowns next game, he will actually break out as well into a superstar X factor, a superstar, which would be pretty nice. Blocking, this is what I was talking about when we go over here. Elijah Vera Tucker has given up 7 sacks already, so I just don't know if we want to move on from him. But the issue is, do we get someone in the draft that's good enough to kind of replace him? We have Joey Dickens, who's doing pretty good in the middle. Adrian Sprinkle has a lot of tackles. Our corners have a lot of tackles for whatever reason. Albert and Boykins have gotten some tackles for loss. Fatu Kasi was doing very good when he was playing. Dickens, Quinnen Williams, John Franklin Myers, which Quinnen Williams has already 8.5 sacks as well. Interceptions wise, we do have a lot more interceptions this year as well. JC's got 2, Boykins got 1, Dickens, Simpson, Ashton, and Marcus May all have 1. We have a lot more interceptions. We're doing a lot better statistically. We're obviously playing for playoffs at this point. We are, what did I say we are? We're 5-2. We got a bad week against the Dolphins, unfortunately. But like I said, there's really not much going on in the scouting. But I don't know what we want to do about our draft picks. So if we go ahead and we just check out we probably should spend our staff points real quick too. But if we check out our draft picks, there's just really not a lot going on that we really want. We're obviously just looking at who we maybe could sign through free agency. Maybe lineman would be good. Maybe we get like a left end or something. So maybe that's something to look at. We can look through contracts on different teams. Maybe a linebacker as well. We're obviously going to just max these out. Because we're doing pretty good on almost all of these. The only other thing we really need is to boost maybe strength for linemen and then press for cornerbacks. We can get it all the way up. And then we have some like of the offensive ones that we haven't done yet, which isn't super important. Obviously, it's good to do. Slow rating regressions I probably could have done, but honestly, I don't know if we really need it. And then revealing the hidden development, we don't really need it. Those really too much right now. It's really about, do we want to trade anybody? We're going to show you guys our roster and look at the contracts, which is team salaries, and show you what we're kind of working with and, what kind of draft picks we need. So we re-signed Zach Wilson, so he's on a big contract now, which he's playing pretty good. Michael Carter is someone I think we might re-sign him. I'm thinking we might, just because I think it'll be good to keep him. We have Darnell Mooney, Elijah Moore, Pittman, and then those 3 are all on contracts. Baz Knight has a couple years. Mekhi Becton's good. Elijah Vera Tucker's contract is up, so this is why I don't know. Do we move on from him, or do we re-sign him for how much he's going to be? Just looking at a lot of linemen there. John Franklin Myers, and then we have Quinnen Williams, who will need to re-sign in a couple years. We're obviously going to be probably re-signing him for at least 2 to 3 years after that because he's so good. Ty Castle's got some years left, and then from there we're kind of looking around. And seeing what we can do. We did re-sign J.C. Jackson on a 1 year. He'll be 29, so we probably won't re-sign him next year. after that, but at least we get another year with him because he is pretty good, and we'll have 3 really, really good corners that we won't need in the draft. Marcus May we're getting rid of. We do need a safety, which is a little bit of the issue right here. And then we do have Ashton Davis, who obviously is through a couple years. Unfortunately, we've been continually trying to get him to superstar. He's had 3 chances in our franchise, and he's just not able to get there. So looking at, maybe the trade center, and we're just going to show you our draft picks. When we're looking at our draft picks, we have pick 23 and 27. We don't have a second rounder at all. I don't know if we're better off trying to trade and get a player. Could we go grab a good left end, right? I don't even know who would be a good option to try to grab. But we're trying to kind of win right now, and there's not a lot of good out there. Maybe we get someone, we try to get someone that's like a young player, like a D. And see, he's normal, so we definitely wouldn't want him. What I'm probably going to do is look through a couple positions, and I might be trading away a first-round pick. We have 2 of them. I think it might be worth it to get someone that's a superstar, X Factor, that's maybe, or not an X Factor, but superstar, and he maybe is like 25, 26 years old. Even if they're a star, but maybe they're 22, 23, it might be worth it if that's the only thing we can get. So I'll keep you guys updated as we go through it. And we'll look for some other positions. Maybe we can also get a right outside linebacker that's a scheme fit. That might be good as well. So I'll keep you guys updated, and we'll basically go ahead and go from there. All right, so we did actually get a trade through, and we're going to go show you what Cunningham is going to bring to our team. We gave our first-round pick. I don't know if it was ours, or to be honest, or the other first-round pick. I think, who did we get it from? The Titans, maybe? I don't actually know who we got it from, but we're basically giving them a first-round pick for Cunningham straight up. And for us, this is a great trade, but I guess for them it makes sense as well because they have Brian Burns. So if we go to them, I don't know if it'll be on the Panthers still, but they have Brian Burns, who's a 96 overall. They obviously could have used him at right end. They're 85 that I took from him. But the thing is, they have Brian Burns, so he's technically not their best player at the position. But for us, this is a steal. Let me show you what this guy, and we do have to cut one player. We'll figure that out later. Let me show you what this guy's bringing to our team at this 85 overall. So he's only got 2 years left on his contract. He's still fairly young. Is he going to be our starter? They already moved him. So he is a superstar, right? He is not technically a scheme fit, unfortunately. Not that John Franklin Myers is very much a scheme fit either. We do have to get his run stopping up if we want to go ahead. And it looks like he has upgrades. I don't know why he has upgrades, but okay, we got his upgrade up. So we do want to get his run stopping up. We'll definitely work on that. He's 23 years old, superstar developed, right? So he's really, really good. We could obviously put abilities on him. We're probably going to put under pressure because he is a good pass rusher. And then from here, probably edge threat, to be honest with you. He's a really good pass rusher, right? So I think we're going to do that. We don't really need him. Even though we're going to get his run stop up, abilities-wise, we're going to leave this on him. But that's honestly a huge trade for us right now because John Franklin Myers, now we don't have to re-sign him. We'll just keep Cunningham. And we could maybe think about re-signing him just as a depth player. We'll kind of see how the year goes because that way he could basically fill in for either injury. Maybe we will keep him, right, if he's cheap enough. But now we don't have to really worry because we have a really good D end, right? We have 2 good D tackles. The only other thing I could think of that we maybe need is a right outside linebacker. And honestly, Channing Shirley's okay, but we'll see what their development traits are. I don't know if he has it out yet. So he hasn't played enough downs yet, unfortunately. We go ahead and see it. I believe that Boykin is close to playing enough. So he is a star. So Boykin is okay. But we're trying to get Channing Shirley enough to see what he is. But once we're able to see what these players are, which Isaiah Simpson's a star as well, which isn't horrible, we'll see. Because Channing Shirley's an X factor or something, then we'll keep him. But honestly, at the same time, we're going to look for a trade right now. And we'll let you know about that. We do need to cut of players. Who is it going to say to cut? It's probably going to say like a receiver or something, right? Yeah, I don't even know why this dude's on the roster. We're not using you. Sorry, Evan Campbell, but we have to cut you. But yeah, so we're doing pretty good right now negotiation-wise, like I said. We still have a lot of cap space, so I think we're probably going to get Michael Carter. And maybe we do get John Franklin Myers. We can still get him for 2 years, like I said. He's only going to cost us a little bit of money. He's not going to put into our cap too much. And we have so much space. So, maybe we do, right? We have a lot of cap space. So maybe we do that. We'll keep you guys updated We don't have to do it this week, obviously, with the negotiations. Trade-wise, we definitely have to look. Maybe we trade John Franklin to get a right outside linebacker. I don't know. We'll go ahead and check and let you guys know. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and see, where we land before the trade deadline ends, if we do anything else, and we'll keep going from there. All right, after doing another look over on the trades in our lineup, there is one player in the league that literally fits our scheme as a right outside linebacker, but I don't think I'm going to attempt to get him for a couple of reasons. And he's a beast, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. He is on a large contract, right? Not too large, but he is on a contract. We'll go ahead. He's a superstar X Factor at 24 years old. They did re-sign him with a long contract if we look at it. So he has all the way through 2030, which is another like 6 years, which is like perfect basically. But the thing is, the reason I don't think I'm going to trade for him is, yes, would he help our team right now? Yes. But I want to develop this right outside linebacker, see what we personally have first. And since he's on a large contract, I could trade at the end of the year, right? Like, let's just say we make playoffs. We need a couple pieces to get over the edge. I don't like any of the draft picks by then. I'm like, I really don't even want a first round pick. Well, guess what? I'm going to go ahead and trade for him if I can. They might not. Honestly, he's a superstar X Factor. I personally wouldn't give him up. They might for a first round pick. But I don't want to do it just yet because we're at the trade deadline and we're 5-2. So right now I want to get these players developed and see what we have because, Ezekiel Bacon, for instance, I didn't like him at first and then he ended up being really good. So I do think, though, that we are going to sign back Michael Carter just because I think it's good to have two of them, right? I think having two running backs is useful. We have the money, and I think it's just smart. We have $106 million in cap room. Maybe it's not, right? But maybe he develops more. Maybe he doesn't. We got the deal done. He's an 86 overall. So even though we have a superstar X Factor who's a low overall, if we get him up, then maybe we switch him out, right? But at the end of the day, for now, I think it's better. Let's just stick to Michael Carter. He's a good scheme fit. Only 25, so we get him through 29 years old. John Franklin Myers is somebody that I'll wait till the end of the year, but I may re-sign him as a backup just so that we have some depth. But pretty much we're good to go now. I just kind of want to go over that. Trade picks too as well. Like we could trade picks at the end of the season before the draft if we want to. We don't have a lot of picks. We don't have a second rounder. We only have one first rounder right now because we gave it up. But I like where our team's at. So we'll keep it going, let you guys know how the season goes, and update you guys later on. All right, so going into week 18 right now, if we go ahead and view the standings, we'll see that we're missing the playoffs as of right now. So we're down here. We're basically a game out. So there's a couple teams, 4 teams ahead of us that if they lose, we could be in. So we're going to sim this last week and see if we make the playoffs. But this is a way better year. We've won 8 games so far. We only won 5 last year. A lot of the games we played this year are a lot closer. So we've already done everything for this week. We're going to advance it, and we're going to see, do we have a wild card game or not? We're basically going to be able to see that. And it looks like we did not make the playoffs, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and look. Looks like we, unfortunately, did miss the playoffs. Did we win the last week, actually? We actually ended up losing to the Dolphins, so that's kind of why. We didn't really give ourselves a shot there. So we do have 51 staff points. We've pretty much cleared out everything. We did all the player personnel. If we check it real quick, we've pretty much done all of that. What we want to do definitely is go ahead and boost our press for our corners. We're going to boost our weight room. And then we just have we have some offenses we have to boost. Obviously as we go along, they don't cost too much. But besides that, pretty much everything is boosted. A lot better year though, 8-9. We're definitely going to check out our stats before we kind of sim through to the off season. But, we did have injuries, unfortunately, this year, which broken wrist, Ty Castle, Darnell Mooney ended up breaking his toe towards the end of the year, which, that's kind of sucks a little bit because when you lose players like that, there's reasons, maybe you don't win or anything like that. Contract has been extended for 3 years as well, which is awesome. Our staff is totally fine. We're not going to get rid of anybody. So let's look at our stats, right? Let's look at kind of the league stats, what we're looking at. So we're 12th in yards. Zach Wilson did finish with 4th in passing yards, 16th in passing touchdowns. Not very good. Our last couple games, we had very low rushing. I think he was at 862 yards rushing with like 2 games left. Or not 862, but like 800 or something. So we had really bad rushing the last couple games. Ezekiel Bacon as well. We might have to utilize our run game a little bit more. and see. The problem is, who do we draft, right? I mean, we almost had a 1,000-yard receiver in Mooney, but he did get injured. Elijah Moore was right there. We had 4 800-yard receivers or more. That's pretty good. Blocking-wise, we gave up a lot of sacks, right? 16, 13, 11, 6, 5. So we're really got to work on getting Wilson, Becton, and Elijah Vera Tucker to not be giving up that many sacks. Defensively, Joey Dickens did miss a couple games, but he did have 114 tackles leading the team. Adrian Sprinkle, J.C. Jackson, Ashton Davis is obviously always very good. We had a couple of our linebackers and everything like that. When we go to sacks, Quinn Williams had 12.5. Kelvin Cunningham had 9. Franklin Myers had 5. Boykins had 5. Castle had 3. Carl Lawson only had 2, which he did miss a lot of games. He had some injuries, unfortunately. That kind of costed him a little bit. But overall, we did good. You see we're 12th in offensive yards. Defense, we gave up 5,000. It doesn't say where we rank in that, but let's go team stats, and then we're going to go ahead and look defensively. So yards given up, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're about middle of the pack defensively. We did have a little bit more sacks than we had last year when we had 39. So we're not too low on the sacks, luckily, as we were last year. I don't know how many fumbles we've had. We actually had 8 fumbles, so we tied for first in fumbles. And the interceptions, we were also 4th. So a lot better defensively with getting turnovers and doing things like that. Like I said, Zach Wilson, still his pass rating is not very good. Personally, I don't know if going into next year, moving the scheme would be the move. If we go ahead and just check out our staff and then we check out the scheme. The issue is, we want a strong arm quarterback. We want elusive running back. And we want a lot of it the same. There is some we can go ahead and switch. But the thing is it better, right? So we could fill general, elusive. The thing is we would lose our tight end because we would be possession, right? We wouldn't lose him, but, it wouldn't be as good necessarily, right? Phil general, we definitely don't want power back. But we could go power back, but we're not built for this, definitely. But it's definitely something we might have to think about as we kind of change our team around, right? Do we go with something like a spread offense? Do we have necessarily the right people? No, but Phil general, we definitely don't have pass protectors, so like something like the run and shoot air raid are not going to be very good, at least right now. But we could do something that actually has a little bit more for us, I guess. But right now the best we have is definitely vertical zone run. That's how we're building our team. And then defensively, we're all right. It's not the best scheme, I guess, for us. It's all right, but we could maybe be better. Maybe that's what's holding us back. So we'll definitely have to take a look at that going into next year and looking at our scouting. We are going to advance the weeks. Michael Carter actually got injured, so no wonder he didn't rush. Guess he had gotten injured as well, and we just didn't know. So let's go ahead and go next week. I don't think there's anything we can do in this part of it, right? So we don't really care about that. Can we just go to the Super Bowl, actually, I think? Just send to the Super Bowl. Because we don't need a scout anyways. Even if we have scout points, to be honest with you, we don't need them. Oh, let's go ahead and see how this goes. Who's in the Super Bowl this year? I'm wondering. The Chiefs against the Lions. So the Lions are actually in the Super Bowl. We finally have Darnell Mooney returning. Let's go ahead and view these yearly awards. So Zeke actually won MVP. Interesting. Very interesting. Coach of the Year was Urban Meyer. Okay, that kind of makes sense, I guess. I wonder if we got another Rookie of the Year award. We'll obviously be able to see that later. I guess we'll scout. Something I'm thinking about doing is grabbing a cornerback and moving them to safety. So grabbing like a zone corner and then moving them to safety because, we're obviously not having Marcus May and we kind of need a zone safety more or less. So looking at them, there's a lot of zone ones down here. There's not any like really good ones. Free safety, there's really not any zones. Strong safety, there is a run supporter in Damian Brackett, who's a early first rounder. He is our scheme. Maybe we just draft him and move him over just because he's going to be better. That's really the only thing I could think of. Although we do have a really bad pick. We have the 30th pick, so we don't get a good one. I guess Damian Brackett is a second round talent, so we might be able to get away with that. So we're gonna kind of take it by chance and see kind of how it goes. Let me know outside backers. There's just really not anything we need here. Middle linebacker is kind of the same thing. Like I said, the only other thing I could think of is moving our scheme. But I don't know if that's necessarily the reason we're losing, because we're only a couple games out from the playoffs, right? So I don't necessarily think that's like a huge indication of why we're might not be doing as good as we need. So we're just going to go ahead and kind of scout whoever. It doesn't really matter. We already have pretty much our whole board scouted. We don't have a lot of picks, and we really don't need the picks. So let's see who wins the Super Bowl. And then from here, obviously, this will be the end of this season. So let's see. We can check out the recap. So the Chiefs did win. Assuming Mahomes got Super Bowl MVP. Chiefs won. William Gibson actually gets Super Bowl MVP. Byron Nix and then Owen Brandenburg were the rookies of the year. Nick Bosa, Derrick Henry. So first year that we haven't had a defensive rookie of the year, funny enough, actually besides Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, but we didn't have anybody that year, funny enough. So interesting, definitely, to say the least. With that being said, we definitely will go ahead and keep this series going. We're getting close. We're right there. When we get to the playoffs, we're going to start doing key moments as well during the games. And then from there, you know, in the Super Bowl, if we make it to the Super Bowl, we're playing the full game, because we're not losing that thing, obviously. So definitely let me know what you guys think. Drop a like, subscribe, turn on that post notification bell. And as always, I will see you guys next time.